A question: what is an environmental management plan? This is a very good question. An environmental management plan, like it sounds, it is a plan of how you as a business person, you as an investor, of how you are going to manage the environment. Now, I think we need to define environment. What is environment? Whenever I go out for public participation and I'm speaking to the community, maybe in barazas, I always start with the question, what is environment? And people will tell me all sort of things. And it is true. Environment is everything that is around you. So what is around you? There is waste, stones, soil, water, animals, trees, air, buildings, you, me, tech, gadgets, everything, right? So how are we managing the environment? Now let's go to a business. Let's say you operate a hospital. Once again, you have a private hospital. How do you manage the environment? How do you manage wastewater? Once you cleaning the floors, okay, cleaning the laundry wastewater, how do you manage that? How do you manage the actual solid waste? We have hazardous waste, sample bloods, sample organs, radioactive equipments and samples. How do you manage that? How do you manage waste from the kitchen? How do you manage expired drugs? How do you manage equipments that are now not working? Okay, how do you manage air flow in the hospital, in the wards? How do you manage the safety of your staff? How do you manage all these things is what we are talking about, the environment. So an environmental management plan, it is a plan that we sit, me and you, I'm the environmental expert, you are my client, we sit and we identify things that we need to look at. Reason being, everybody in Kenya has a right to a clean and healthy environment and a right to have that right protected. And that is in the Constitution. You do not want, at whatever cost, your project or your business to harm the environment. You do not want your project to cause harm to the environment, to cause harm to the other person, to violate their right to a clean and healthy environment. So, how are you going to ensure that that never happens? We develop a plan. So, we have wastewater from the environment, from the hospital, the cleaning, the bathroom, the kitchen, everywhere. Okay, how do we manage that waste? So we shall have a pre-treatment, and then once we pre-treat our water to meet the standards that have been set by NEMA, then we are going to release it to the sewer line. And then we are going to pay for the effluent discharge license. Okay, is it cheaper to construct an incinerator and have it licensed, or how do we handle the disposing of hazardous waste and such issues? Are we going to be taking this waste to somebody else to do the incineration for us? Which vehicle is going to do that? How is it how is it done? Is this vehicle licensed? Okay, your people, you know of this thing that is called ESG. Okay, then we go to the social aspect. How are your workers? So the guy who does laundry, do they have the gumboots, the gloves, and so on? The carriers that they carry those clothes from the wards to the laundry, are they managed? Are they the ones who get clothes from the high risk wards? Are they pre-washed or pre-treated before they come to mix with every other cloth? You understand what I'm saying? We are developing a plan of how we can manage. Okay, some of your staff, how many hours do they work? How is the ventilation of the offices? What is the waste management kind of activities do you have in the offices? How is the floor where they are working, or can anybody slide and fall when they are working? How is the service of your, what is your brand? How do people perceive your services, good or bad? What is the brand that you have? Governance. How does the HR treat people? How does the head doctor of certain ward treat people? You know, so an environmental management plan is where now you plan to ensure that the whole of your business, a holistic approach to every corner of your business, to ensure that it is in line with these 3 environmental pillars, the environment pillar, the social pillar, as well as the governance. You do not want to be so good in providing services, on the other side it is you who is polluting the river. So an environmental management plan is essentially that we develop a plan that you are going to follow to ensure that you do not violate the environment. Once you have hit the baseline, like everything is good, then you start improving on how can we actually reduce cost of business operation from this plan. What bulbs are we using? Are they energy saving or they are just the ordinary ones? Can we do solars on this building instead of this? All this water that we are harvesting from here that is causing erosion, huko chini, and the community is always complaining. How can we manage this? So now then you start protecting your image and reputation as a business from this management plan, because you are planning so many things that might be affecting the people outside. And if you're not violating their right, then you can be sure you're going to be in good sitting with them. So many businesses actually will do so much better if they have an environmental management plan. If you need an environmental management plan for your business, it doesn't matter what business it is. You have a private school, you could develop an environmental management plan. And actually, right now, with everybody moving and running towards sustainability, that could be a very good positioning strategy to sell your business, because you have a plan of how you do things here to care for the environment. And caring for the environment is not just switching off lights. We are now more educated than that, right? Yes. So it is important that you develop that. Now, if we are conducting an environmental impact assessment for a project, an environmental management plan is one of the things that are developed inside of that report. So if you're starting out, then you will even have the benefits of having these developed for you in the process of EIA. So in case you're operating a business and you do not have an environmental management plan, call me. Let us develop that. Even for a salon, actually, you could even have an environmental management plan for a salon and use that to sell and market and brand your business.